There's a reason I never do dupes videos, and that's because I am too dang picky. I can see the tiniest difference between a product. So when I have set out to do dupes videos, I couldn't find a dupe because like one little thing was off, and I'm just not about to do that. But I'm loosening the reins a little bit. I'm gonna say these are alternatives. Some of these are super duper close to one of the most popular brands on the market right now, Charlotte Tilbury. She's one of my all-time favorite brands. However, she's also very expensive. So I'm bringing to you some great alternatives and dupes to some of her products. Some of these I'm kind of going to figure out along with you. This has been a process. This is how much I hate dupes and how picky I am. I have set out these products for weeks, and I have spent a few hours swatching against everything in my makeup collection, which is quite large, and I've been going back, re-swatching, changing things to the point where I'm like, just put it on the face and we'll work with it. So let's go ahead and get into it. This is the best dupe I have found for the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. So many brands have set out to dupe this product, and I think a brand that did a fantastic job is MCO Beauty and their Flawless Glow. It's very clear they took this to the lab. I'm just saying. And MCO Beauty is a brand that does a ton of dupes, so they've duped a lot of Charlotte Tilbury products. I didn't want to show every MCO Beauty dupe to Charlotte Tilbury. I wanted to get other options because this isn't as accessible depending on what part of the US you live in. Like, this brand is available in Kroger Family Stores, but I don't have Kroger Family Stores where I'm located, so you may or may not have access to this. But they do a really good job with their dupes, by the way. Anyways, Charlotte Tilbury is $49. And MCO Beauty is not exactly cheap, but it's $27, and that's a big difference. I didn't do shade match. I'm going off of formulation for this particular product. Some products I did shade match, some products I did formulation match. So some will look different, some will look the same color-wise. So this is the number 3 in Charlotte Tilbury. I like to use this color specifically for all over as a glow. I'll use shade number 1 when I just want to do more pinpointed highlight brightening, but I do like number 3 to give a little bit of coverage to the skin, but give this glow. How gorgeous is this? This is why brands have set out to dupe this product, because to be frank, it is gorgeous. Wipe off my brush. Now let's get into MCO Beauty. This is shade also number 3. It's a little bit lighter than Charlotte Tilbury. Now, a lot of brands now have these like glow booster style products, but I feel like, there's a lot of differences that I can tell. MCO Beauty is one of the closest to the actual similar level of glow, similar level of shimmer, similar level of coverage. Like, you can barely tell a difference. The only thing I would say is the Charlotte Tilbury is maybe a bit thicker in feeling, but these are super duper close, you guys. And for how expensive the Charlotte Tilbury is, MCO Beauty truly kicked butt on this dupe. It's quite honestly spot on. So this is a really good one if you want to look into it. This is one that I have traded out so many different products with. Honestly, I'm not confident in this one, so we're going to do it live on camera to figure out. But I have swatched so many foundations up against the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation. And the one that reminded me the most of this that was in my collection is the Catrice True Skin Hydrating Foundation. I don't know if these are going to be exactly the same. We're going to see them side by side, all spread out on the face. The Charlotte Tilbury is $49. The Catrice, $10. Now, what reminded me of each other about these is the full coverage that these both have, but they still are supposed to have like a hydrating, semi-glowy, but not too glowy element to them. Let's put on the Charlotte Tilbury. Honestly, Jose, if these don't look the same, we're gonna cut this out. Okay, so I'm just going to apply the Charlotte Tilbury. Now, with the Charlotte Tilbury, a little goes a long way. I did a whole pump, and that was entirely too much. So I'm gonna have to use a sponge to take some out, but that was a whole pump. Going in with my, I think this sponge is from Kosas actually. Gonna blend this out. So do you see what a thick full coverage layer the Charlotte Tilbury gives? Now I'm not gonna lie, this Charlotte Tilbury isn't my favorite for longevity. I think it's extremely perfecting. It has like a demi-matte finish to it. It doesn't hold up my favorite. I think it can feel a little thick at times, but when I'm going for a full coverage, glam perfected look, this foundation is great. I do wipe my brush off in between if they are sharing, so. Let's get into the Catrice. It's been a while since I've used this foundation to come up with today's video. I've been doing a lot of hand swatches, feeling the consistency of products, seeing the dry down. Yep, I see why I thought these two were similar. They have a very full coverage, smooth, perfecting look on the skin. And what you might be looking for in both foundations might be different. Like the things that I notice and that I care for are what I'm counting as the dupes. No, these look exactly the same to me, especially on the skin. If anything, maybe the Catrice has a hint more glow, but it's the same level of coverage, same kind of smoothing, perfecting, super glam look. Oh my gosh. I'm shocked at how good I did with that one. Wow. Okay, let me pop some concealer on. I know it's not like perfectly blended in the middle of the face, but just look. I have a dupe for pretty much every Charlotte Tilbury formula, so this first one is a good one. This is, when I was putting together this video in my head, this was one of the first ones I went for. The Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Sun-Kissed Glow Bronzer has a dupe. That's a lot more affordable. It's the ColourPop Super Shock Bronzers. And this product actually came out before the Charlotte Tilbury, by the way. So the Charlotte Tilbury, $58. You do get a lot of product. Let me double check on that. Yeah, you get a lot more product, but if you're not somebody who finishes makeup, it's not a big video. And the ColourPop is $9. $9. But I will say, lots of product in the Charlotte Tilbury, so it probably isn't that much price per ounce, but anyways, I'm not focusing on that. Not shade matches, but they both have this putty to powder finish to them. The Charlotte Tilbury is beautiful. I'm using the shade number 2, medium, and yeah, it's got a cream feel to it, but it will dry down, so it does have some longevity to it, especially in the summer. It's launched a couple of years ago from Charlotte Tilbury. I think it's a beautiful product, really popular for the summer. Blends in stunning. That's that. It's a putty one. But ColourPop has been out forever too. So let's apply this. These are a bit different in shade. ColourPop also has quite a few shades, and then of course Charlotte Tilbury has other shades, so it's difficult when I don't have the whole line, but these are quite close in color. I'll do a hand swatch so that you can see. If anything, I would say that the Charlotte Tilbury has a little bit more pigment, but that just might be because it's a little bit deeper. It's harder to tell. I'd say the ColourPop maybe feels a little bit lighter on the skin, but they are so similar, you guys. If you want that putty feel that the Charlotte Tilbury gives without the $59 price tag, the ColourPop is super nice. I mean, side by side, hand swatching, ColourPop feels a little bit more wet, but this is ColourPop, this is Charlotte Tilbury, just so you can see the color difference. This is Isle Bet, I-S-L-E Bet from ColourPop, and number 2 medium from Charlotte Tilbury. Yeah, no, these are totally dupes. I'm so proud of myself for this one too. I have another one for the liquid bronzer, but you know what? Maybe I'll keep that for a part 2, since I'm already covered. Like this if you want a part 2. It's for the contour wand, and it's also really good. You might know it if you've been watching my videos, but I'm going to put that to the side for part 2, if there is one. But I will do powder bronzer, and so powder bronzers and powder blushes, I feel like they're not as hard to dupe. I was just going through feeling up some bronzers. So I did find a really good dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer. This is just a big fat powder bronzer. Oh, and it's also $58. So the dupe that I have is from L'Oreal. It's the Infallible Fresh Wear Bronzer. I just feel like these have the same level of softness to the touch, a same level of pigmentation. You can definitely get the look with both of these. So I have number 2 medium in the Charlotte. Ignore my multiple swatches already on my hand. This video just required so many swatches. And the L'Oreal feels just as soft. Like, this is pretty much a color dupe as well. In the L'Oreal, I have the shade number 300 light medium. This one will be a little bit harder to tell in terms of side to side, so I'll do like a nose contour swatch. But I'm just going to keep this really close to the hairline to set the bronzer, even though the bronzers don't really need set. The L'Oreal, when you put your brush in, it's a little bit more loosely packed, so you'll get a little bit more pigment off the back. That's kind of the major difference between the two. But the tone and the finish, they're very, very similar. Charlotte, going on. Wiping off brush. Now we have L'Oreal. I went in a little harder with the L'Oreal, so I got a little bit more pigment, but I rest my case. These have similar feels, similar blends. Only thing is use a little bit of a lighter hand with L'Oreal, but they'll give that same matte airbrushed bronzed look. This, in my opinion, is quite a spot-on dupe. It's for the very, very popular Charlotte Tilbury Matte Beauty Blush Wand. And this is not only a formula dupe, it's also a color dupe for the shade Dream Pop. MCO Beauty did it again with their soft matte beauty wand. I didn't want this whole video to be MCO Beauty because they've done such a good job with the dupes, but this is probably my favorite dupe from MCO. I mean, again, I swear MCO took this Charlotte Tilbury straight to the lab, but I'm not mad about it. I'm just gonna do I need a bigger dot than that. I do have some powder on the face. That'll be good. Why is it all coming out the side? Oh, I just put too much on. Why did I do that? Let me see if I can take some off. Okay, anyways. BK Beauty 109 brush. I'm going to blend this in. It may look intimidating, but it's a beautiful color. Beautiful on deeper complexions as well. Easy to blend out. Good over powder. And it is a matte finish, but it kind of conforms to whatever finish you have underneath. Like if you have a glowy finish underneath, this will look on the glowy side too. I'm just going to tone it down because I put too much on. Okay, let's get to MCO Beauty, which, speaking from experience, is about the exact same. Even my little struggle here with the packaging, it coming out the side randomly. And using my brush to blend. Now, if I had to pick the easier blend, it would go to Charlotte Tilbury, but is it worth a double the price difference? I don't know. It's not that much harder. Then again, you can tone down if you want. This is straight up a dupe. I can't tell a difference. You can let me know if you see one, but they're the exact same to me. Okay, so now I have a powder blush dupe, and these were kind of difficult to dupe, I'm not gonna lie, but they are for the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Cheek to Chic Powder Blush formula, and I found a blush that has a very similar sheen that this one will give. Now, the dupe does not have this kind of like where there's a brighter, glowier color in the center, and then a deeper color on the outskirts, but when you swatch them and you blend them all together, the finish is the exact same. Not a color dupe, but it's more of a formula dupe. So I'm going to be using Pillow Talk from Charlotte Tilbury today, and I'm applying it. I haven't told you what it is, but Charlotte Tilbury is $42 and the dupe is $12. I have a lot of blush going on. Sorry, just so many blushes. But the dupe is from ColourPop, and it's specifically the pressed powder blush in the pearlized finish. Must be the pearlized because there is a pearl to the Charlotte Tilbury, and the finish is the exact same. I want to use the shade Morning Vibe. They're a little bit different in color, so ignore that, but I'm going to show you on my hand the glowiness so you can see that. So let me show you. Here's Charlotte Tilbury. I gotta build that up a little bit more. That was a little pathetic. So that's my Charlotte Tilbury swatch. You can see it has a little bit of a gleam. Let's go into ColourPop. It has a similar feel, a similar drag. And I just feel like the level of pearl in the two products is also very similar. Now it depends from shade to shade because especially with the ColourPop, sometimes they have a different colored shift. And same thing with Charlotte Tilbury. I don't have a dupe for dupe similar color and I don't have a lot in either range. But the pearl I find to be really similar. So the application and finish on the cheek, super similar. So if you don't want to spend $42 on this, why not just spend 12? Okay, now this next one I wouldn't necessarily call them like exact dupes, but they're definitely alternatives. I think that the Charlotte Tilbury Glow Guide face highlighters are stunning, but they're $42. I'm sorry, they're $48. And a drugstore option that I found that gives a similar level of glow, a similar blend into the face, is the Pixi Glowy Glossomer Duo in Subtle Sunrise. Now, these don't look exactly the same, but this is $18 and you get 2 shades. And they're definitely the most similar that was within my collection. So this is Charlotte, then I'll go in with the lighter side. And this is Pixi. Different colors. The Pixi is definitely brighter, and I feel like it does have a little bit more glow, but they have a similar blend in, and that's what I was going for because the way that the Charlotte Tilbury soaks into the skin is one of my favorite parts, and I feel like the Pixi has that blend. So we'll start off with a little bit of Charlotte, and the Charlotte will pack a punch. Don't be fooled. Like, look at that. How beautiful is that highlight? Okay. I'm going to go a little bit lighter with the Pixi because it is quite glowy. But look. Okay, I went too light there, But guys, how similar do those look? Even on the cheek. You take a moment, inspect, let me know what you think. But $48 versus $18, and you get the 2 shades of Pixi. I'm happy because all of these dupes are turning out even better on my face than they did on the hand. Okay, and then the last dupe I have for complexion is setting spray. It's for the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. Now, this is probably more of an alternative because to me, there's no setting spray that touches this. But a drugstore alternative that does about the same thing is the Catrice Ultra Last Fixing Spray. It depends what size you get from Charlotte Tilbury. I'm trying to see how much is the small one. A travel size is $23, and then the full size of the Catrice is $8. And they both will absolutely make your makeup last longer. They pretty much do the exact same thing. I'm a little biased though. For me, I will always be able to tell a difference of how good the Charlotte Tilbury is because this is my all-time favorite, but they do the same thing. They do. Let's do Charlotte first. Oh, that one had a sprayer on her. Okay, and then Catrice. Okay, so to test these, to prove how good they are, I lined my arm with multiple lines of lip liner, and then over the lip liner lines, I swatched each setting spray, and these two held up about the same and held up the most, where after the setting spray dried, I would run over my arm and the lip liner wouldn't run with those two, and then the other ones, the lip liner would run. So this set those liners into place. They do the exact same job. So that's how I got to the conclusion that these two do the same. We're going to finish off with the lips. I didn't do any dupes for any eye products, so maybe that will be in part 2, but I did do the bronzer and the highlight. You can see that the highlight's a little bit more shimmery from Pixi, but again, like, I did such a good job. Okay, so we're going to finish off. I have lip liners. Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat is one of my all-time favorite lip liners, and I found 4 color dupes from the ColourPop Lippy Pencil line. These are not formulation dupes. These are color dupes. The Charlotte Tilbury will last longer. I'm telling you that now. But Charlotte Tilbury, ma'am, is $25 and ColourPop is $7. So sometimes You just want the color dupe. So my dupe for Charlotte Tilbury Supersize Me is ColourPop Good and Plenty. Maybe very slight tone differences, but I'm telling you, on the lips, there's not much to tell. My hand looking so dry from all the swatching I've done today. Charlotte Tilbury Crazy in Love, ColourPop Bumble. This one's probably the most different, but Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude 951 from ColourPop. Charlotte Tilbury's a tiny bit more cool tone, but again, they're so close. Hot Gossip from Charlotte, Brink from ColourPop. Tell me these aren't good. These are so good. Okay, I'm gonna do Supersize Me from Charlotte, Good and Plenty from Color. You could argue Charlotte Tilbury has a little bit more warmth. If that's the case, I think the ColourPop is even prettier. But so close. Close enough, you guys, especially if you put something on top, like lip gloss. I found a very similar formula dupe, not color dupe, because I don't have a lot of colors in either range, for the Charlotte Tilbury Jewel Shine lip glosses, which were limited edition. These I think were about $25. The Essence Extreme Shine Volume lip glosses are so close, and they're only $3.99. So these are not formula dupes, like I said, but what was unique about the Charlotte Tilbury is the glimmers that the color had. Now, not all of the Essence Extreme Shine glosses have that glimmer that the Charlotte Tilbury has, but they have specific colors. If you go into store, you'll be able to see the similar colors. I have, what color are you? Dusty Rose. So these are different colors. But I bet you if I went into Ulta with this shade from Charlotte, I could find the dupe version of Essence. But I picked these because they have this similar level of shimmer. They have the exact same feel on the lips. Like, not much of a difference here. So, when it comes to a dupe, I think Essence did it. So now that it's all said and done, other than the lip gloss color, can you tell there's a huge price difference between my face? Can you tell one side is the luxury brand Charlotte Tilbury and the other side is a bunch of affordable dupes? I truly cannot tell. I did an even better job than I thought I was gonna do. I wish I could say this was fun. I'm so picky that it wasn't. It took hours and hours and hours of digging through my own collection. So let me know if you would like to see a part 2 and I can dupe some more products within my collection from the Charlotte Tilbury line, or maybe you want a different line. But I have to say, I'm standing behind all these dupes. I was fully expecting there to be one or two where I would take it back on camera, but wow. She's shocked with herself. If you know of any more Charlotte Tilbury dupes, let me know down below in the comments because I want to pull some stuff for a part 2. So let me know. I'm asking you to help me if you have it. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys, have a good one.